So question is, am I on right path? Okay, so we talk general and then we talk to a specific person, ask question. So we do both things because it's actually a good question for general. People always wanting to know, what is my path? What is my journey? What is my fate? What is my destiny? Am I on the right path? Am I? Okay, so let's just break this down so that we can all benefit from the question. So, okay. Am I on the right path? Okay. So first of all, you need to know that the right path is the path that you are experiencing the most joy from. That's it. Okay? So there is no right or wrong, there is only joy. If the path you are on is bringing you joy, you are on the right path. If the path you are on stops bringing you joy, you are on the wrong path and you need to find another path that brings you joy. That's it. Simple. Okay, but obviously we know that it's not. But what is really good for people to really recognize is that if you are always aware of when you are happy, when you are feeling positive, when you are feeling joyful is the key word, then you know you're on the right path, because really, in essence, you see, that is your little regulator that you have within you. Your thermostat should be set to joy. And therefore, when it's not on joy, you register that. You know that therefore you need to make some change. So we would say that the first thing always to ask is, am I on the right path, or is this the right thing for me to do? Is what do I do? Just find your joy. Find your place where you are experiencing joy. Recognize that joy inside of yourself. Understand that the joy comes from within, because it is experiencing a moment in life that you are happy to be in. You see, joy is in the moment, and joy is every moment. So therefore, every moment you're experiencing joy, you are on the right path. So if you find yourself day after day after day after day, not quite sure if you're enjoying or not, we would say that you are probably aware that your thermostat is not where it needs to be set. It's probably come off the boil a little bit. And we would say, okay, so rather than panicking, rather than trying and trying and trying and trying, step back, step back. Okay, so just take a deep breath, let go, because that's always the first step. Just let go, there's no stress. And then say to yourself, okay, what would bring me more joy right now? Right now is the key. What would bring me more joy right now? If I can find that, if I can bring in something else to bring me joy today, then I'll be more on my right path than I was the day before. So the key is not always, you see, right path has these connotations of career, work, purpose, meaning. Heavy words, actually, we've found. And it's interesting that the work Andrew has been doing, and that the work we did with our conversation last time was all on these words, because you see, such words as purpose and meaning, and they ought to be light-filled, they ought to be joyful, and yet they've become so heavy. You say the word, and how does that feel to you? It feels so grounded, it feels so dark, it feels so deep. And the opposite is true of what you are trying to find and discover. The opposite is where you're trying to be. So we say, let's just ditch those words for a little while, and let's just come back to path of joy. Because you see, every moment that you are existing in a path of joy, you are on purpose, you are in purpose, and you are being purposeful. And you will see that as you experience more and more joy, you will crave more and more joy. You will find that you attract to you more and more opportunities to experience joy, new ways to create more joy. And as you pursue these, you will find your path takes you further and further and further into joy. As you do this, you see you are more on purpose than ever. So the question for anybody that wants to ask this is, am I on the right path? Well, let's also just acknowledge that the very fact that you've asked the question shows that deep down you know you're not. Because if you're in the path, if you're on the path, you wouldn't be asking the question, do you see? So the fact that you asked the question indicates in the first instance, that you are already aware that you are not stuck in the thermometer of joy because you are experiencing something less than joy. You are having doubts of joy. You are not quite fully resonating with joy, or else you would not be asking the question. So the very fact that you are asking the question means that what you need to do is just step back a little bit and say, okay, so obviously my thermostat has gone off the boil. It's showing me that there is something else that needs to be sorted out, fitted in, added to my life. Let's take stock of what that could be. Let's use my intuition. Let's use my heart. Let's use my brain. Let's put it all together and see what it is that I need to be adding to my life, or changing or altering or switching or deviating from in my life. And let's put that into place so that I can start registering higher amounts of joy again. So there is no wrong or right path in that respect, only that if you are not on joyful path, you are not on the right path. That's it. So people get very bogged down with this question of destiny and these questions of fate and these questions of what is my destiny? What is my fate? Well, the real question that every day you need to ask yourself is, am I in joy? And of course, things come along in life. We are not disrespectful to events happening, and you need to take stock of those events. You know, human beings that are in the event of losing a loved one, etc., etc., etc. You know, you don't expect you to feel joy in those moments. So let's be reasonable. But when you're talking about your path, when you're talking about how you are experiencing your life, so we mean relationships, and we mean health, and we mean career, and we mean passion that you are feeling and experiencing in your world. Well, that then is where you need to experience joy. And if you are not, then you know you need to make some changes. And the fact that you ask the question shows that there are things that need to be addressed. The very asking of the question gives you the answer that you need. I don't know anyone who is on the path of joy that stops for a moment to say, am I on the right path? They just get on and live it, because each day opens up fresher amounts of joy, and they create more and create more and create more. The fact that you ask the question shows you that there are changes needed to be made. Now, they do not need to be huge changes, and they don't all need to be made around career, let's be honest. They don't need to do with your relationships, or with your health, or with your just experience of life, with your mindset, with your belief systems, with your resonant vibrations. You see, so much is always put on purpose and always put on career, and you know, joy is in the life that you are leading. And we said in the live conversation the other night, that your work these days, more than ever, needs to just be an extension of the life you're leading. Let's cut out these separation and divisions between work realm and personal realm. Let's just make it all flow into one homogeneous whole of joy. And so your life flows into the work that you are doing. And that's where we need to get to now, because this is the way we are moving forward. And anybody that's listening to this has come here to hear this message, that your work should be an extension of the life you're living. And that means joy. So am I on the right path? If you ask the question, you know you're not. But that doesn't mean that everything you're doing in your career is on the wrong path. What it means is that your life as a whole needs to have some exploration, and do it with fun, do it with joy, do it with a light step. Don't do it with a heavy-hearted, oh my goodness, just joyfully, lightly. Oh, there's some more joy to be experienced, because I wouldn't ask this question if I wasn't craving in my heart and in my soul and in my physical body to experience more joy in my life. So let's look at what I need to do. Let's look at how I need to experience that. It may be work, for sure, but it may also be my health, or it may also be my relationships, or it may also be my hobbies, or it may also be something inside of me that's still waiting to get out, that I have to bring out into the world. Maybe it's travel, maybe it's exploration, maybe it's creativity, maybe. All these things it could be, just to bring more joy into your life. If you're asking the question, am I on the right path? You know you're not. But that doesn't mean that your career choices are wrong. It just means that you're not living the fullest amount of joy that's available to you at this time. And it is available to you at this time, or you wouldn't be experiencing the lack of it. Do you see? If you're fully maximized in the joy that is available to you at that moment, and let me just say that no one ever is, then you wouldn't be asking the question. So in general terms for everybody, it's a great question to ask, because it actually means that there's more, and it actually means I need to step back and say to myself, where do I find my next piece of joy? What is missing? What's that joy that I'm missing? Why aren't I resonating joy? And let's just get real with that. And if it is career, and if it is your working life, then you need to take stock of what it means. Is it just shifts and changes within the current work you're doing, or is it big shifts and change to create a new realm of work? That can be done with support, that can be done with help if that's it, big changes. But the first question is, am I on the right path? You kind of know if you're not by just the fact that you're asking. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're completely off the right path. It just means that you're not experiencing the joy that you came to experience. And only you can sit and figure out why. Why is that? And let's get joy back on the path of purpose, because then joy, it becomes the purpose, which is actually all it is. So in general terms, the question, am I on the right path? Let's just ditch ideas of purpose, destiny, fate, all that stuff. You know when you resonate joy. And what that actually will show you is you are following pursuits that are inherent to you, because that will bring you greater joy. You are following pursuits that bring you more passion exploding out into the world that you are living, because that is more joy. And you will also feel more meaningful in the work that you are doing, in the life that you are living, and in the way that you are experiencing life, because that will bring you more joy. And you are harmonizing your relationships more, because that will bring you more joy. And all of these ways that you will find that you are naturally living with more joy when you are living on the right path, as it were. So most people ask the question, am I on the right path, when they mean that they are taking on specific career attributes. That's what most people mean. Am I on the right path? Well, I've decided to go into this, or I've decided to go into that. I feel like I want to do this exploration. Am I on the right path? I've begun this journey. I'm there. Am I? Well, what it's showing you by asking that question is that you already have doubts. Now, that doesn't mean that you've made the wrong choice. And that doesn't mean that the path is the wrong path. What it means is that you are not allowing that path to go exactly where it needs to go, to be exactly what it needs to be, in order for you to maximize the experience of joy that you are here for in planet Earth at this time. So we would just say, okay, let go of the pressure. Let go of the pressure of right and wrong. There is no right or wrong. There is just ever more increasing amounts of joy. No right, no wrong, just more joy to be experienced. If the path you've chosen is starting to seem like there's not enough joy for you, which we would suggest to you, this is to specifically now, but also general, the person who has asked this question, but also for anyone who finds himself asking this question, actually, by asking the question, you have said that this road that I have chosen, this journey that I'm on, is starting to not resonate with me as joy. Is starting to not resonate with me as the full amount of joy that maybe it even was in the beginning when I started down this path, but now there is something not quite right. There is something not quite there for me, because I'm not experiencing the joy that I was, or that I thought that I would. And we would say, okay, this is not the time to wallow in pity and grief and despair. This is a time to rejoice. In this moment of rejoice, what you can do is wake up to the realization that you now need more. And whether that's because it was joyful but now it's not and you're ready for more, or whether because you thought it was going to be straightforward, this was it, and now it's not. Either way, all you need to do is open up your heart, open up your mind, and say, okay, the path wants to lead me slightly, possibly more. For the person asking this question, we wouldn't suggest it's a radical shift, but there is some newer pursuit, some newer direction for the journey that you're on to take you to, because you will know that you are on path when you are in joy. And if you're not in joy, you're not on path. So the fact that the questioner, let's get specific to the person, has asked this question, they already know that they are not in full joy. They already know that they are having some doubts, some questions over the fullness of the experience that they have embarked on. They are not doubting the complete journey they're on. They're not. And they are not doubting the wider experience of life. They're not. But what they are questioning is how much joy they are experiencing in the moment of their chosen path. And let's be clear, you chose it. So we would say to you, okay, rather than panicking that you've made the wrong choice, you haven't. This is specific, but also to all people, because you can't make a wrong choice. Do you see? Just get back to joy. No paths are wrong. So you didn't make the wrong choice. You've made the choice that was resonating with you to move you forward to where you need to be at all the time. We agree with that. And what we say to you is now, rather than worrying that it was the wrong choice or the choices you have made are not working out in the way that you wanted them to work out, we would say to you that just for one moment, imagine that the path you're on could start to reflect greater and greater and greater amounts of joy. How would that look for you? How would experiencing greater amounts of joy fit into the life you're leading? What would you shift? What little changes would you make? What pushes would you make? What nudges would you go? What would get the little elbow out of the way, and what would you make room for to come in more and more and more? Because there's just tweaking to go on. For this specific person that we're talking to, it's not wide sweeping changes, but there's tweaks to be made to find more resonance again, and that's what we're after. We're after vibrational resonance with that which you're seeking, and you're seeking greater levels of joy. So you need to tweak and you need to shift and you need to just work out the priorities for your joy. And you need to work out what needs to just get a little bit of an elbow out of the picture to create more space for the things that you already know really harmonize and really resonate with the energy that you are and the energy that you are wanting to be. Let's be honest. You are always wanting to move on, this questioner in specific terms. So the person that's asking the question is aware of some shifts and changes, is aware of a need inside of them for what we will just call more. So therefore we say don't be dismayed by that, because you began a path and you began a journey. It wasn't wrong. It's the right path. It's just not bringing you the joy that you thought it would at this moment in time. And there needs to be some tweaks and shifts. Use your mind, use your heart, use your soul, breathe and let go. Make those shifts and changes until you start to pick up that pace of joy again. So you start to resonate a little bit joyful, a little bit more joyful, and a little bit more joyful every day that you're alive by the changes and the thoughts that you're starting to bring in. Be prepared to make some changes, but they don't have to be wide sweeping. Specifically for the person that asked this question, they don't need to be wide sweeping. For some people, they do. We don't hold back. Some people asking themselves, am I on the right path? Well, in order to find joy, they will have to create radical change. That's not this person. That's not this person. This person needs some tweaks. They need to rediscover the energy of joy for themselves. And that isn't incumbent upon a specific career or a specific person or a specific this. It's just, okay, let's make some tweaks to reconnect with that energy that I felt, that vibrational pull that I felt. Let's just see where that's leading me, because you see, joy is never ending. Joy will never be enough. There's always more, because it's always love, and there's always more to be experienced. No matter where you're at in your life, no matter how high you're vibrating, no matter what, there's always more. So it will always be that you are craving more. And it doesn't have to be this deep, deep, dark need. It can just be a light, joyful awareness. Oh, I've gone off the boil a little bit. Let's just get back to where my joy is. Let's get back to focusing on that for starters, because we tend to focus our energies onto, oh my goodness, I don't feel joyful, I don't feel happy, forget that. Let's just get back to the places where you do feel joyful already. Create more of those. When you're experiencing a place that doesn't bring you, say, oh, okay, maybe I just need to let that space go a little bit more. Maybe I need to elbow that out of the picture a bit more to make room for the stuff that does bring me joy. Oh, suddenly I'm vibrating higher. Suddenly I'm lifting up. Suddenly life seems very doable. Suddenly life seems very open and joyful again. And that's the path that you need to be on, because in that space, opportunities will come for more joy and more joy and more joy. So never Never fear being in a space where you feel yourself less than joyful. Never fear that space. This is what human beings fear. Never fear that space, because that's a joyful place. That's a place to reside in and say, okay, I am now internally calling out for more joyful experience in my life. That's what I'm here for. So I'm ready for it. I'm creating for it. I'm crying out for it. But let's not cry out from it from despair and darkness. Let's cry out from rejoice and celebration. Let's say, okay, there's more joy for me to experience, and I'm ready for it. Elbow out the stuff we don't need, create the space for the stuff that makes me feel good, for the stuff that lifts me up, for the stuff that brings me happy, for the stuff that makes my heart sing, for the stuff that makes my soul rise. Let's get those things coming into my life. I'm back in joy. I'm on the right path. I'm on the right path. So it's a great question to ask for all people, because the very asking shows you you're not. But it doesn't have to be doom and gloom and despair. We would rather see it come from a place of joy, of recognition that, oh, I need to tweak my path. I need to change my path. And even if I have to radically alter my path, which I can do with support and help if I need some, well, I know once I've done it, if I follow joy, I'm always on the right path. With love.